Uh, Anybody excited to write some long form ads? Thumbs up. Little raising of the roof, maybe? Yeah, Robin. Good to see you, everyone. Jessica, hi. Mary, it's been a while. Really good to see you again. Sari, hello. Kenny, hi, everyone. We'll let everybody get settled and then we'll kick off with some exciting long form stuff. Curiosity, just to raise a hands for everybody I can see. Has anybody tried writing a long form ad yet? Yeah, Jessica, Ksenia, Sari, Bettina, Mary. Okay. Yeah, Robin, Katie, come see, come saw, a little bit. All right. This is going to be fun for everyone then. All right. I think we got 26 or so of us in here now, which is a good group. Welcome to all. Joe joining us all the way from the UK. Alejandra, Vancouver. Hi. Karen. All right. Let's see if there's a couple more people trickling in. And if not, we'll get into it. So the first thing that I will say is that we've added an additional call for this bootcamp series because it's going to be lengthy. There's a lot that we got to do. So today, uh, being Thursday, we're going to do like the training session. So I'm going to be kind of introducing to you how to kind of start creating the long form ad. And then on Monday, this upcoming Monday, I'm going to be hosting a Q&A. So it's not in the calendar right now, but I was like, I need to add this because there's a lot of stuff that we need to work on. So I've added some more sessions. So every Thursday is going to be like new training material that we go over. And then every Monday will be the Q&A for that training material. Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you some new things. I'm going to be giving you some homework assignments. And then on Monday, you're gonna complete all your homework this week and over the weekend. And then on Monday, we're just gonna have a Q&A to go through your homework. And then next Thursday, we're gonna jump into the next concept. And then that following Monday, we're gonna do the same thing, Q&A. So it'll always be like Mondays for Q&A, Thursdays for the training session. Okay, I was just trying to also kill a little time while I let everybody get in, so I'm not repeating things. But looks like we got everybody here, or a good amount of people. So let's begin. 35 of us. We should all be in the right place. We are here for the story-driven ads bootcamp. Okay, so I'm gonna make this full screen. I'll probably go through like I'm going through a few slides and then I'm going through your homework. And then at the end, I'm just gonna ask like for any questions specifically about how to do the homework. So we're not gonna like jump into doing the homework really today. I'm gonna be showing you some examples, but if you're not clear about how to do the homework, those are the kind of questions we want to ask. But the real like I've completed my homework and now I have questions conversation will be on Monday. Cool? Thumbs up. I can only see a few of you, but Natalie, thumbs up. Katie, thumbs up. Okay, cool. Alrighty, let's jump right into it. Okay, so this has been a topic that's been on my mind for a very long time. I by trade am a copywriter, so I put a lot of emphasis and priority on the writing component of ads. I know that everything matters. I know that the visual matters too, but that's just kind of my background, is I believe in copywriting, and I've built a lot of kind of my wins and my some of my case studies just through writing. And so that's what I'm going to be helping everybody do is create a long form ad that you can use when you're running your ads and everywhere else. Okay, so the first question I'm going to address here is what is a long form story ad? I can't tell you how many people I meet and they look at some of these ads that I write and they're basically like, what the heck is that? Like, is that an ad? Like, is that an ad that you wrote? Like, I didn't even know you could write ads that long. Like, Facebook lets you write ads that long. So a lot of the times when I'm showing these ads, people are surprised. They're like, what the heck? You would do that? Okay. And yes, you can do that. And I absolutely want to do that because long form story ads are very effective. Okay. And they're ultimately used, and this is going to be a word I'm using a lot this year. The long form ad is used to position your brand, your products as a category of one. Okay. So we're trying to differentiate you and your products from everything else your customer has been used to. Okay. So it's really about differentiation, capturing your magic and positioning you as the only person who can solve this desire better than anyone else for the customer. Okay, so we're going to use the long form ad to position you as a category of one who can solve your customer's desires better than anyone else. And that's how we're going to stand out in a crowded sea of content online. That's how we're going to build interest and commitment and ultimately get your customers to take action. Okay, so this is an example of a long form story ad. So anybody who's been kind of attending some of the trainings I've been hosting recently would know that in summer of 2024, so last July, I launched a skincare brand with a partner here in my hometown of Edmonton, Alberta. Okay. And so she'd been developing this product for a long time. One of her first questions was like, "Hey, I really need help launching this." And I was like, "Perfect. You don't need a partner. I could teach you. I could teach you how to do it." And then we just got like closer and over the years, eventually the product was ready. It was a really great product. And I was like, "Hey, we're going to launch." And we wanted to launch last summer to kind of start building some compounding momentum towards Black Friday. So there is in school, if you didn't watch, like there's the long form story ads bootcamp, there's like a intro video. That video walks through this entire case study. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that because to build sales for this brand, what do you think I did? I went through Merchant Mastery Elite and I followed everything that we teach to a T. So I was working on the avatar, I was working on the offer stack, the homepage, product page, collection page layouts, email automations and ads, exactly how it's taught in Merchant Mastery. And I was able to generate about $100,000 in sales in under 6 months with one long form ad. Okay. So I didn't have a whole bunch of like short form ads. I didn't have a bunch of like little short ones. It was just this long form story that got us to the first 100K in under 6 months. And this is from like an ad account that had no followers on social media, brand new ad account, no customers, no nothing. No nothing. And so it was the long form story that carried us all the way there. Okay? And you could see how long it is. It's like 4 screenshots long. Okay? And this is why long form story ads work so well. So what we're trying to do with the long form story is we're not trying to create a new desire. We're not trying to say to our customers, "Hey, you should care about this. Hey, I know you don't care about this now, but wait till you see what I got, and then you'll start caring." We want to tap into the customer's existing desires that they already have. So everybody here, your products address many desires for the customer. Okay. And the job of the long form story ad is to tap into that customer's raw desire and direct that desire onto your product. So we're saying, "Hey, do you wish this outcome in life?" Well, my product delivers that outcome in life better than anyone else. Okay, and this idea, like these long form ads, it comes from a really old school marketing term called direct response marketing. Has anybody ever heard of direct response marketing? Hands for anybody. I can only see a handful of people, but so direct response, it's basically like comes from like the 1920s, 40s, 50s when they would do these like direct mail offers. So they would send you like an advertisement in the mail. So you get it in your mailbox, and it's this long form ad that's trying to like bring this desire to the top of your mind and create urgency to act upon it and solve it right now. So it's like tapping into existing desires and bringing it to the top of the mind, where it's like, "Oh my goodness, I've been meaning to solve this forever." And this long form ad heightens that desire and then creates urgency to act upon it now with like a call to action. So this is an old school. You could look it up, direct response marketing. That's where this comes from. And what we're really doing with the long format is we're amplifying the desire. It's already there. We're bringing it top of mind and we're amplifying it so the audience feels that desire more intensely as they're reading through your long form ad. Very effective. Okay. And we ultimately want to differentiate your product as the best solution to help with that desire. Category of one. It's really about differentiation. Okay. And we also want to use it to position you. And yeah, I've used this term a lot in Merchant Mastery. We want to position you as a category nerd who fought to solve this problem better than anyone else has. So we want to show how crazy you are and how you built your superpower, how you decided to start selling this product and and how much you fought to make it exceptional. Okay. This is going to build a lot of authority and trust with you when the customer's shopping around. They're gonna be like, am I gonna buy from that person? Or am I gonna buy from this nutcase who devoted like 12 years to perfecting this product? I'm gonna buy from the nutcase because I'm like, I trust that level of commitment. Okay. And it's gonna tap into some emotion with the customer because we want the customer to see themselves in the story that you tell. So one of the ingredients of this long form ad is going to be like your origin story. And I'll be showing some examples of that today, but it's going to be your origin story. But the best job the origin story could ever do is allow the customer to see themselves in the story. And they're like, oh yeah, I had that problem. Then what? Okay. And ultimately, like I said, this is a direct response marketing tactic, and we're trying to build so much urgency, trust, heightened emotions, and to compel the customer to take action. Okay, so this is why they work so well. So in the boot camp over the next several weeks, I'm going to be providing you with this repeatable framework for writing long form story ads for your products. And I would hope that everybody here, like you're going through Merchant Mastery, that you would use this long form ad when you're testing your ads. Okay, and you can do this time and time again. All right, so just a quick shout out to one of the best books ever written in the marketing space. So, in addition to Merchant Mastery's offer stacking formula, which I've been teaching most of you, like when I wrote my long format, I was just using our offer stack formula. So it's very effective just with the offer stacking formula. But I'm going to be integrating some concepts into this training from what I believe to be the best marketing book ever written. It's called Breakthrough Advertising. It was written by Eugene Schwartz in 1966 and considered by many to be the best copywriting book ever written. Okay, if you go to Amazon right now and look for this book, you're going to find it for $1,000. There is a private publisher who like republished the book and sells it for 200. So I was able to find it for $200 a few years ago or whenever I bought this. Um, but I believe there's also like PDF digital versions you can find for way cheaper. So if anybody wants to go deeper into these concepts, I would recommend going through this book. It's really unbelievable. Okay. And now the question many may be asking is like, where am I going to use my long form story content? I'm creating this insanely long nutcase. I'm using that word a couple of times just because I saw Katie laughing at it. Where am I going to use this long ad? Where does it fit within Merchant Mastery's training? So we are absolutely going to be using it for our evergreen ads. So when I say the word evergreen, I mean our always on ads. I'm not talking about this like ads with a start and end date. Like Black Friday, start date, end date. Evergreen is always on, always selling your products to your customers at all times, day after day, week after week, month after month, year round. So you're definitely going to use it there. Okay. You are also going to be able to use it though for the compounding promo ads. So if you do decide to do a Black Friday sale or like a Valentine's Day sale or whatever is coming up, you could also use this long form story in those ads. As you're going to see what that's what I did, right? I was using these ads on my evergreen and they worked so well that I was like, I'm just going to use them for my promotions too. Okay. And then you'll also be able to repurpose this long form story to use chunks of this content everywhere. Okay. So like we're going to come up with all the offer stack ingredients through this process. And so you can use little like bite-sized pieces in your emails, ads, website, everywhere else. Okay, so you're going to use it in website, emails, ads. You'll use it in like the level 2 in Merch Mastery, 3, 4 promo boot camps, everywhere. So I love going through this exercise because there's another, not that I'm like starting a book club here, but another one of my favorite marketing books, which would also be on my top three, is the Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And in that book, he talks about this idea of creating like your stadium pitch. Your stadium pitch. Like imagine you're in a football stadium and there's like 30,000 potential buyers, like relevant customers in that stadium and you have like an hour on stage to to get them to buy. And so you're kind of like touching on all of your differentiators. You're talking on your origin story. You're talking on why your product's better. So I often think that that's just like an internal thing with me. When I think about the long form story ad, I'm like, this is my stadium pitch. If I had one shot of winning over a customer, what would I need to say? Okay, so really good stuff. You'll be able to kind of use it everywhere. Now, here's an example. Obviously, I showed you this was my evergreen ad. So this was my always on ad. We're using it in our evergreen ads. The one thing that I did was I also came up with a slightly shorter version of it. So once I'm gonna go back to this slide. Once this one was running, generating sales, I'm like, okay, that was pretty long. I'm gonna see if I can come up with a shorter version of the same story and test that one. So I started testing a slightly shorter version. But let's look at, for example, this one, the hook says like this will be one of the most expensive skincare products you'll ever purchase, but it will also be the purest. Okay. The next one, I changed it slightly. At the surface, this may seem like one of the most expensive skincare products you'll ever purchase. But once you go deeper, you discover all these benefits. Okay. So it's just a slight variation of that proven story. Okay. You're also going to be able to use it, like I was saying, in your compounding promo campaigns. So if you go back and watch like that full case study, I show how I built the whole campaign, how I got the evergreen working, how I layered on the compounding promos. And if you look at my ads that I ran for my big promo events, like I did an autumn sale, I did a Black Friday sale, I was using the same ad. So you could see my same, you got to click the see more to drop down and see the whole 4 screenshots worth of content. But it's the same hook, same ad that I was using for my autumn sale, for my Black Friday sale. So I was using it in my evergreen and for my promos. Okay. And then you're also going to be able to repurpose this long form story for multiple use cases. For example, as I was going through Merchant Mastery for Piranha Skincare, as you could see in the case study, one of the first things I did was write that long form story ad. And then when I was creating the welcome emails and like the I think this was welcome, thank you sequence, abandoned cart sequence, all I was doing was taking bits and pieces from the long form story ad and using them as my email content. Like your whole welcome sequence could be this long form story ad broken up. But you're going to start to have these like hook TBIF attributes and like pieces that you could use in your communication everywhere. Okay, so this is the long form story ad framework right here that we're looking at. So there's like 5 main ingredients that we're going to be working on together throughout this boot camp. So the first thing that you need to do, step one, I've come up with a new name for this. In breakthrough advertising, Eugene calls it he calls a hook a headline. And so I'm gonna honor old Eugene and say headline here, but this is essentially the hook. And I've given it our own name. It's the category of one headline. And I've noticed working with a lot of people on their campaigns, we got it. Honestly, it's not easy. Let me tell you that. It's not easy creating a category of one headline. And just one of the things I've noticed is I'm going to touch on the ChatGPT thing in a sec, but if we're using tools like ChatGPT, it's easy to land on a hook that other people could say. So that's my only criticism is that we want to look at our headline, our hook, and be like, can my competitor say that? And if they can, it's probably not where it needs to be. Okay. And so we need to position with this hook, with this headline, showing that we're tapping into this customer's desire and showing that we're the best at solving this. And in the book, um, Eugene is saying that this process of creating this initial headline takes like 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. We're gonna do it in a week and a half. Okay, but he's really trying to emphasize how essential it is to tap into the right kind of desire, differentiate yourself the right way, and ultimately compel the customer to read the rest of the ad. So it's really important. Like half the book is spent on this headline component. Then once we got their attention, and this is not the framework from the book. This is our own framework, but I saw a lot of similarities in how they were writing it. So I'm very happy to see consistencies across both. But the second thing that we're going to be working on, so this week and next week, we're going to be working on the headline, and then we're going to be working on the origin story. And there's 3 specific things you want to include in your origin story, which is like when you discovered the solution or when you acquired the superpower that you have, when like the seed was planted. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go and solve this. So you discover something that you're going to solve. There's a big challenge that got in the way. Oh, we almost failed. We almost gave up. Things were getting hard, but we did it. And at the end of the origin story, you arrive at this transformation. We did it. It had this effect. It's working for everybody now. Here's why. Okay. And then, so you're going to start with the category of one headline. Then we're going to go into your origin story. And then we are going to talk about including your differentiation stack. So in past trainings, when I was talking about this, I was saying that this section I was calling it polarizing the alternative, but it's really highlighting how different you are to competing options. So polarizing the alternative is part of it, but it really is your differentiation stack. And these are like your function attributes, if you're thinking about our offer stack formula. Okay. And so you're doing that a lot of the times by highlighting your benefits. Okay. And then that's going to be followed by a testimonial stack, proof that your products do what you say they do. And then the last thing is the offer and the call to action. Alrighty. So, like I said, for the first couple of weeks, we're going to be focusing in on step one, which is the category of one headline to position you as the best person to solve your customer's desire. Okay. Now, this is another reference to breakthrough advertising. He basically says when you're creating your headline, like your hook, there's three levels of creativity that we could tap into. And I guarantee, I don't know how many people are on the call now, 52. I guarantee that out of the 52 of us, some are doing the first level of creativity, some of us are doing the second level of creativity, and some of us are doing the third level of creativity. And I'm here to encourage everybody to do the third level of creativity. Okay. So the first one is borrowing a headline or a hook. So this is using somebody else's proven headline or hook, and you're just replacing it with your products. So this level requires on direct imitation of successful ads without creating anything new. You would literally look at an ad, it has a product in there, you swap out that product for yours, and you're done. Okay. The second level up from that, is using generic formulas. Okay. So this is when you're following a tried and true formula to create a headline, but tailoring it to your product. So if anybody has seen recently, we released like the 15 proven hook formula worksheet. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It's in Merchant Mastery under the hooks module now. That would be an example of like a level two here. So we're giving you those formulas, but this level is introducing some customization, but it's still relying heavily on these structured templates. So there's some more customization, but still relying on templates. The third level that we really want to be doing, and I'm here to help you do this because I know a lot of people have told me, Scott, English isn't my first language. Scott, I'm not a writer. Scott, you make it look easy. So I'm here to break it down in a simpler way instead of just hoping that you pull like a magic rabbit out of a hat. You know, like, hey, just think of something. Come on, Natalie, think of something exceptional. Just do it. Do it. I'm going to give you like a framework, a step-by-step method to extract what we need to include as an original idea in our hook. Okay. So we got to develop a completely original headline by deeply understanding your product, your audience, and your market. Okay. And now for those of you who've been using ChatGPT, believe me, I do too. I use it every single day, multiple times a day. But this is a prompt I wanted you to see that I sent to ChatGPT. I said, in this book, Breakthrough Advertising, like he lists the three levels of creativity: using someone else's headline, using generic formulas, doing the hard work yourself. And I said, because this book was written before ChatGPT, I'm wondering where you think using ChatGPT for your headlines would fit in this list. Okay. And ChatGPT said, okay, if you lean on it to generate quick surface level ideas, ChatGPT operates at level one or two. So if you're like, hey, here's my product, here's my customer, create a hook, level one or two is ChatGPT. Okay. And the reason is ChatGPT is pulling from a database of things that have all been used before. Okay. So it is not going to give you ever a category of one hook. It's giving you everything that has all been used before. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think those things will still work. Okay. But if you use it as a tool to enhance your own deep thinking and creativity by helping you brainstorm, refine, or challenge your assumptions, we can use ChatGPT for level three. So I'm still using ChatGPT, but I have to have authentic, unique ideas and stories in my headline. Okay. And if you see that here in the conclusion, it says use ChatGPT for your headline. Using ChatGPT for your headlines can be level three creativity if you use it thoughtfully to enhance and refine your unique positioning. However, it still requires you to provide the strategic direction, critical evaluation, emotional depth to make it unique and impactful. And my favorite part is this last line, the magic still lies in your ability to craft something distinctly you. Okay. And so in this book, Breakthrough Advertising, he doesn't talk about long form story ads. He calls them breakthrough ads. And he's basically saying that, like, yeah, you could use ChatGPT to come up with level one and level two creative hooks and headlines, and they're going to be good, and they'll probably get you some sales. But a truly successful ad, he calls this like a breakthrough ad. It breaks out of the noise, and it's unlike anything you've seen. And these are the most wildly successful ads. So he defines a breakthrough ad as one that successfully captures and channels the existing desires of your market in a way that has never been done. He always says he has this line where he's like, no copywriter steps in the same river twice, and the river's always moving. So you're kind of like trying to use your own instincts, understanding trends, like you're paying attention to what's going on with your customer and thinking about a unique way to position your solution to solve that desire. Okay. And the headline has the most important job out of anything we're doing. That's why we're doing 2 days dedicated to the headline. If the headline fails to capture attention, your customer is not going to read the rest of the ad. Okay, so the headline should channel the mass desire most relevant to the audience, connect it with the product in a fresh, compelling way. Making sense so far? Okay, cool. All right, so when it comes to creating a headline, how are we going to create an effective headline? It really comes down to choosing the right desire. Okay, so we got to choosing the right desire is the most important thing that we're going to do for the headline. Like I said in the beginning here, everybody's product helps solve many desires for your customer. As you're going to see, we're going to be talking a lot about desires today and like picking our desires. But it's the most important part of the headline is choosing the right desire. What is the biggest desire your customer has that we can solve? And he says this that if you choose the wrong desire, if you select the wrong one of the dozens that your product could possibly fulfill, your advertising is going to fail. And now I think it's a little bit more dramatic in his era because they would pay for these big ad placements and they would get him featured in magazines and newspapers. There's like no internet. And with us, if it fails, what are we going to do? We're going to test a new one on Facebook the next week. So it's not as devastating a consequence for us, but the lesson remains. If we don't pick the right desire for our headline, the ad's not going to work. Okay. So let's look at a comparison here. And this is a really important lesson because I've been teaching this long form ad that I wrote to a lot of people on a lot of trainings recently. And a lot of people, like rightfully, I would do the same thing. Is like, okay, I'm just going to use what Scott wrote. I'm going to say this will be the most expensive coffee product you ever purchase. And so I've seen a lot of people use that same line. And in some cases, I actually saw, most of the time it's still working. But the truth is, the same hooks aren't going to work for every product. So you can't just, unfortunately, like, and you'll understand why by the end of the session today. But we really do need to understand our customers' unique desires, their stage of awareness with your product, and their level of sophistication. So those are the three things that we're going to be considering today. But let's look at another example of a brand who I don't think could use this same hook. And I'm not sure if he's on the call. He's in Merchant Mastery. Let's just see if Mark's here. Are you there, Mark? Nope. Okay, he's not there, but I'll tell him after. But let's take a look and see if this hook would work for Mark. Okay, so Mark owns a business called Superfly Composites. And he's created an invention. He's like innovated his category. He has like fly line management gear. So it helps you like with fishing in your fly line. And he created an innovation. Okay, so you can see on his website, it's like, don't miss that shot of a lifetime. Keep your line on the deck and coils tangle free. That's like the benefit he's providing. But would it make sense for Mark to use this same hook that I was using? This will be the most expensive fly line management gear you ever purchase? No, because the customer's like, what the heck is that? What's what, maybe they know what fly line management is, but they've never heard of what his product does. So it's not likely going to work. And it's because his is perhaps the only fly line management gear of its kind. It's not a saturated or overcrowded market, and the customers aren't yet jaded or skeptical. Okay. When I'm using my line for Piranha skincare, this is going to be the most expensive skincare product you ever buy. That's because skincare is very competitive, isn't it, Sina? Skincare is a very crowded, competitive space, and people have heard everything. They've heard all the different solutions. They've heard all the claims. They've heard all the testimonials. They've heard all the results. And so to crack through that noise, we need to position our skincare as a category of one. And by saying it's the most expensive one you're ever going to buy, what did I just do? I said there's no other like it. Okay. And it also has like the double benefit that it's going to scare away people who don't want to buy that skincare for that much. And it's going to attract people who have the money to do it and who are curious. Okay. So we're not using the exact same hook with one brand as another. It's going to depend on the customer's stage of awareness with what you do, the market sophistication, and the desires we're tapping into. Okay. So the same hooks will not work for every product because you need to factor in, like I just said, unique desires, market sophistication, customer level of awareness, and one of my favorite things that we're going to be talking about through this bootcamp is the unique mechanism or promise your product delivers. So when I say this word unique mechanism, this is what I'm going to be encouraging everybody to do, just so I'm going to start planting these seeds with you as we keep going. But you want to start thinking about your unique process for delivering the transformation to the customer. And you want to like give it a name. Okay, so if you're going through merchant mastery and you get to like the tree of life, that's a unique mechanism. That's our method for building an e-commerce campaign. Offer stack formula. That's our unique mechanism for writing messaging for e-commerce. E-customer purchase path. That's our unique mechanism for planning out a campaign. You see where I'm going? So you kind of want to define what's different about you and give it a name, right? With Prana Skincare, we came up with like the 333 promise. It addresses the three C's, attacks the three root causes of aging, results in 3 weeks. It's our unique mechanism. Okay. Alrighty. So this is just kind of like a preamble into what we're trying to do. The task at hand is the first thing that we're going to be doing is creating our category of one headline so that it's unlike no other before it. And to do so, I'm going to be using a new example. This is another local business based in my hometown in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The owner is Krista Tronchuk, and Krista was one of the first 5 people I hired at our agency back in 2013, like 12 years ago. Krista worked with me for like 4 years or so. And like even before I was working with Simon, Krista was working with me. So obviously Simon's one of my partners, and so is Kieran. But Krista was working with me even before I had met or started working with either of them. So she's like got some old school legacy relationship with us, and she has a series of products that are in the body care space. There was one specifically that got famous. It was like kind of like in the sexual health and wellness space, but we didn't want to focus on that one because it's a really tough time advertising it. That category is like getting banned on Facebook, but she got picked up by publications for that product. And so she got a little bit of like recognition through this other product. But for the purpose of today, I'm going to be I'm going to be working with Krista on building out this campaign, and I'm going to be showing that her super body butter. Okay, which I like to use this example because it's also a competitive space. There's a lot of people selling body butter, but the key takeaway is going to be differentiating us with our unique mechanism. Okay, so that's kind of like the theory part of the day. Now I'm going to jump into the worksheet that we're all going to be completing as part of our homework. Alrighty, so continue. Okay, so let me just jump over to school for a sec. So if you look at school, I'm going to click on the classroom here. If you scroll down past levels 1 through 4, you're going to see this story-driven ads bootcamp here. And you're going to see at the top, there's this training called Your Best Year Yet. This is the one I would recommend to everybody if you want to see the case study on how I built the Piranha skincare sales. And I go through everything in detail in this training right here. But we're live here on session 1. So after this call, this recording is going to show up here, and you're going to access your worksheet right here. So the one that I'm going through, you can all access it right there. Category of one headline worksheet. Okay, so here it is. So when you click on that, it's just going to prompt you to copy and make your own version of it, save to your drive. But let me just kind of walk through how everything works in here. So this is how we're going to land on what to include in our category of one headline. Okay, so the first step is going to be the desire table. Okay, so I know as I was probably going through that training, everyone's like, what desires? How do I know which desires? Which desire do I pick? Scott said it's so important to pick the right desire. So I have a little bit of a process to help you brainstorm desires, weigh them against one another, and land on one. Okay. So in the desire table, the first thing that to consider, there's really only two types of desires that your customers have. There's and these are covered in breakthrough advertising in the book. There's permanent forces that create desires, and there's also changing forces. Okay, so the two permanent forces are like mass instincts. These are the things that never go away. So these are universal, timeless instincts. It's like health, love, beauty, success, fitness. These are the things that are going to stand the age of time. Humans always have these desires. Social connection, okay? All these different things that you could include. So these instincts never fade. The goal is to distinguish your product from others that were before it with more believability. So when we're tapping into these kind of desires, everyone's making these claims since the beginning of time. More beauty, more success, more health. But the job isn't to like call out the trend or the instinct. The goal is to distinguish your product from others who were before it with more believability. Okay, and we do that with like that category of one differentiation process. Okay, and then the second one here that I have for permanent force is like a mass innovation problem. So until something has been solved by innovation, people will buy and buy again trying to solve the problem. Okay, so you think about like fitness, it's like I can't get to this level, and everyone's introducing all these different ways. This is going to be better. This is going to be more effective in skincare as well. This is going to give you the best skin. And everyone's just like trying new things until they finally try one that actually works. Okay, so if we think about Field Trip, and I'm thinking about their body butter product here, if we think about the mass instincts that people have around Field Trip, it's beauty, self-care, and like pampering, and health, like healthy products. Okay, and then the mass innovation that people typically are trying to solve in this category is longevity, is like a super hydrating butter that actually lasts long. Okay, so here I said, what's the innovation problem? It's the need to reapply frequently, is what we've listed. Okay, so as you're going through the worksheet, you're just going to think about what kind of mass instincts, and you can use your old friend ChatGPT. Please believe me that I have no issue with anybody doing that, but you need to be the manager of ChatGPT. They're one of your employees, and you need to look at everything with a critical eye. Okay. And so let's continue on. So far we've looked at permanent forces. Now we're going to brainstorm desires that are created by changing forces. So these are trends. These are things that are shifting desires, preferences, and values. It's like the start, the middle, and the end of a trend. And then mass education, what the public learns or becomes aware of over time. And this could be a result of the sum of all advertising. Like everybody's educating the market in the same way, customer becomes aware now. So they change their understanding of things. So if we look at trends, obviously with Field Trip, the rise of organic, non-toxic, eco-friendly products, and mass education, customers become sophisticated about ingredients. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they didn't know. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try that. Oh, burns my skin. Thanks for telling me. Okay, so customers are very, very sophisticated about ingredients now. Okay. And so what you're going to do from here is basically you would look, okay, what are these instincts? What are the innovation problems? What are the trends? What is the mass education? And then you're going to list out 5 desires based on these. So I have 6 here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I just created 5 desires based on those. Okay. So if I look at like beauty, my desire to have youthful skin. Self-care, my desire to pamper myself. Okay. This one here, the innovation problem, the need to reapply frequently to have hydrated skin for long periods. That's my desire. Okay. And then I keep going. Trend, the rise of organic, non-toxic, eco-friendly products. My desire is to use organic, non-toxic, eco-friendly products. The last one was a mass education. Consumers are more sophisticated. My desire is to know what I'm putting on my body. Okay, so that's your first job, and we're not going to pause here or do anything like that. That's going to be your homework until like I got more homework for you, but that's going to be one of the things you do. And so you would just list out what are some mass instincts that are permanent, what are some innovation problems in your category that people keep trying to solve, what is a trend related to your product, and what is a mass education that people have come to understand. And then you're going to put each of those, or at least five of them, into a desire. Okay, now our job is to choose one desire out of the five. And like I was saying, if there's anybody who wants to join my book club and read Breakthrough Advertising, you'll see that he's like, this could take you weeks, months. And we're just kind of deciding on it now because in this day and age, we can write a long form story ad, test it, doesn't work, we can create another. So we have like that flexibility in this day and age. But basically, we're going to choose one desire based on the one that gives you the most power across these three vital dimensions. So if you're like, I don't know what desire to highlight, we're going to see which one scores the highest when we're measuring it based on these three things. Okay. So is this something urgent or intense that is in demand? Is it something that has staying power and repetition? Like we could keep solving this for people, or is it just is it like COVID masks? Where it doesn't have staying power. That just has like the trend. The trend's gone, those businesses are mostly gone, right? So you're thinking about the staying power. How long can I continue providing customers with this solution? And then the third one is the scope, the number of people who share this desire. So based on this scoring process, out of my five desires, this was the one that scored the highest. Okay, to have hydrated skin for long periods because it's urgent, right? People are frustrated with always reapplying every hour or whatever it is. And then the second one is the staying power repetition. If we could solve that, it's a consumable. They'll keep purchasing it for a long time. And the scope, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are struggling with the same thing. Okay. So far, all we've done is chose our one desire that we are going to be using in our headline. We're going to tap into that desire, channel the desire to your product in the headline. Okay. So you're choosing your one desire. Now we're going to be talking a little bit more about the customer's stage of awareness. Are they aware with what you do of what you do? Okay. So the first thing that you would do, and good thing everybody's been through level one, you've worked on your ideal avatar. I just want a little blurb in here because when we go through these stages of awareness, we want to remember who's our customer. So a couple key things you would want to ask is what's their problem or desire? How aware are they of solutions or your product? Okay. So if you think about Mark Superfly Composites example, that's an invention. So people are like, yeah, I have the problem, but I have no idea that there's any solution out there because it's an innovation, an invention. So you just list out some things about your customer. She wants non-toxic skincare that works. She values high-end aesthetic skincare. She likes natural and luxury, balances life with mindful moments like self-care rituals like yoga, Pilates, natural skincare. She's eco-conscious, intentional with the ingredients. She's aware, so this is an important one. She's aware of skincare and body care products and brands. She's tried everything but doesn't have loyalty. She's filling the void until finding the perfect match. Okay, so how aware are they of what you do? All right, and then now we're basically, once you fill out your avatar, we're gonna go and look at the customer's different stages of awareness. And as I go through this, I want you to think like where does my customer stand? Where do they fit? Okay. But what you're gonna do is read this next table that goes through the five stages of awareness, and you're gonna list out which one your customer's at. Okay. So this is really brilliant, and there's a lot of people in marketing who have taught these five stages of awareness. It all comes from this one book. Okay, so if just think about this for a sec. Are they somebody who's unaware of your product or your solution? They don't even realize they have a problem. Okay, if you think about a really legendary member in Merchant Mastery, Val Moody, do you remember her? Anybody remember Val and her brand Fodes Frames? That was an invention that's like those sticky frames that you put on the wall to organize your lists, sheets, kids' pictures. So instead of using sticky notes or like tacking papers everywhere, she had these reusable sticky frames. So people don't even realize that they have a problem. They're just using whatever they've been using. They're just using sticky notes. They're just unorganized and they don't even know they have a problem. So she is actually dealing with a little bit of an unaware product customer. Or they might be problem aware. So they might know they have a problem, but they don't know of a solution. Okay. So they're like, yeah, I'm tired of being unorganized, but I have no other option. That's what they would think at this stage, problem aware. Okay. Most of us are going to be here, solution aware. So that they know they have a problem. Okay. And they know solutions exist, but they don't know about your product. So they would be like, yeah, I need I need a hydrated skin. I know I can get some body butters. I just don't know about field trip yet. Okay. And then the next one is product aware. And this is where they know about you and your product, but they need a little convincing. Okay. And we usually do this. This is why, um, and I'm going to be showing lots of examples of how we choose this and what kind of message we create. I'm going to be showing examples of that in the future sessions. But this is typically like our Black Friday campaigns right here. It's like so many people join your list, they haven't bought yet, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, a discount today? Okay, I'm in." They just need a little nudge. Okay? And then the most aware people, this might even be some of those folks. These people are like already bought in but haven't bought in yet. They're ready to buy. These are the people who just need that nudge. These people need a little bit more convincing. They're on the fence. They're like, yeah, it sounds good, but I'm not completely bought in. I'm going to weigh some options. These people are already bought in, but need that little nudge. So I would say Black Friday would convert both these people, but most of us would land here unless you have an invention. And I know there are a lot of people in Merchant Mastery who have inventions and innovations and things that people have never heard of. So you might be down here. This one right here, unaware, is the hardest one to compete at because it's the longest sales cycle. You have to teach them that they have a problem. You have to teach them that they have a problem, and then teach them about your solution. So this one's really hard. Most are like in this here. Okay, so this is part of your homework is just once you know where yours is, just list it here. Because in the next session, next Thursday, I'm going to tell you how this answer changes how you write your headline. I'm going to be showing you what you need to focus in on in your headline based on which stage. Okay. It's funny because when you are new to the market, though, if you're unaware, these are the easiest to write the headlines for because nobody's ever heard of it. So you're just like, hey, do you know this problem that we all have but have never solved? This solves it. It just requires the longest sales cycle, but it's the easiest to write headlines for. Okay, so you got to answer that because next time I'm going to show you how to write the headline based on that answer. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to go to, so we know how aware the customer is of their problem, of the solutions, of your solution. Now we need to understand how sophisticated the market is. Okay, so I just like we did with the stages of awareness, there's a little exercise I need you to fill out. So you're just going to think about your product or a product that you want to sell, write a description of the product, right? I think it's just your product, not the one you want to sell. Even take that out. Okay, just think about your product. So I included like a description. This was right out of the field trip product page. Ultra rich, waterless body butter. Super butter melts into your skin on contact, supporting your skin's microbiome, creating a luminous glow. Made with potent infusion of 21 natural certified organic wild harvested oils. Okay, luxurious, effective. Okay, so just a little description about the product. And then you're going to do like a little, you don't need to spend too much time on this, but just based on your understanding, you want to assess the market. Are there similar products in the market? If so, how competitive is it? Okay. And you would just brainstorm some of these answers here. Then what kind of claims are competitors making? So if there are people competing, what are they saying? Are they like it's this kind of result, this kind of promise, this kind of timeline? And you want to think about that. Okay. And then what features or mechanism makes your product stand out? This is going to be one of the most important exercises. I've already been talking about it once, but like defining your unique mechanism, your process, your way of delivering on that transformation. And good news is we're doing the Q&A on Monday, so we can brainstorm for a long time together and make sure everybody's clear on these things. Okay. But based on those answers, now, just like we did with the 5 stages, we're going to be deciding what level of sophistication your market's at. And this one is going to be way different for all of us. Okay. Piranha Skincare, Field Trip, highly saturated competitive markets. Okay. But it's not the case for everybody. So I'll show you how we're going to decide that next. So now we got to determine the market sophistication level. Okay. So you're going to decide which stage is your product at within the market. Okay. The level one is the pioneering stage. New product, no competition. So this is like Mark from Superfly Composites. There's no product that does what his does. And he's had some like remarkable traction. He's in the graduate merchant mastery accelerator coaching program now too. And he's barely put ads out for Black Friday, decided to do it last minute, generated his biggest month ever. And like people because it's touching on something that people have been wanting to solve. So I think that they were problem aware, but they didn't know any solutions exist. But he's definitely at the pioneering stage, new product, no competition. Or it's level two. So then you'll kind of see people enter the market and they're like, "Hey, we do this, but we do it better. We do this, we solve this thing, but we do it better." And the example they were using in the book in Breakthrough Advertising was like, I can't remember how quickly aspirin solves a headache now. Is it like an hour? In the book, they were like, "We have a new aspirin that solves a headache in 24 hours." And then the new competitor would come out, aspirin that solves it in 12 hours. Right? So it's like we deliver on the same promise, but better. Okay. So if you were going to be doing this, you would be highlighting the differentiation. We do it better because it's new technology or something. Okay. And then the next level is level three. This is when it becomes saturated with claims. Okay. So everyone's like, we're different, 12 hours, 12 hours. Everybody's saying the same thing now. So now we need to use bold, specific claims with proof. 400 doctors agree no aspirin solves this problem quicker than ours. Okay, ours solves it in 2 hours at half the dose. Okay. Or you're at level four where the market is completely overcrowded and everyone's making bold claims with social proof, with percentages and times and case studies. This is when you need to introduce your unique mechanism. And this is when you say, yeah, I hear everybody's making these claims and promises, but we have a new way of getting to the end result. You see this so much in the fitness space. There's like ab roller, then this thing, and then that thing. And oh, we got the newest, latest, greatest thing that's going to help you with your fitness journey. And so this is a really important part if you're in a crowded market, unique mechanism. Okay. And then finally, level five, this is when the market is so saturated that people are disconnected from anything the market has to say. Okay. So they're hearing all these claims, all this proof, all these methods, and everyone's competing on saying the same thing. This is when you go back to the basics and reconnect with the emotional component because they've lost any emotional attachment because everybody's just flooding it with the same thing. And so we're going to go back to the emotion at this stage. Alrighty. Okay. So, like I said, you're going to kind of go through these five stages and just pick one and put it in here. Because based on what you choose, it's also going to dictate how we write your headline. We need to know the one desire, we need to know the stage of awareness your customer's at, and we need to know the level of sophistication. And based on those, I'm going to give you like some tidbit tips. Tidbit tips? I'm going to give you some tidbits and some tips on how to write your headline by factoring in your desire, stage of awareness, level of sophistication. Okay. And now let's keep going here. Okay. So you would determine the level. Now, the next question. So let me just see. Is this the last table? There's two more tables here. So these are also homework assignments. Okay. And so just remember that you're gonna want to do this part because we're gonna use it for your headline, but we're also gonna use it for the rest of your ad. And the good news is, has everybody here done level one in Merchant Mastery Elite? Like you probably have, right? So a lot of these answers you did when you were doing the transaction, brand, influence, and function attributes. But this is kind of like an advanced version of a couple of the ingredients. So before it was like, yeah, function, you use my product this way. I'm going to go like really narrow on a couple of these value attributes. Okay. So the first thing in this table, these are like questions you want to ask yourself when crafting the headline. And we're going to start crafting the headline next week. So these are some of the questions. Just to remember, like, what is the strongest desire my product fulfills? We've said it's long-lasting hydrated skin. How does my product stand out in the market? This is the really important one. I want everybody to think about that. Like, what is your unique way of delivering on this transformation? So it's your unique benefits, your unique mechanisms. Okay. And going through this with a field trip and Krista, it was like we got a waterless body butter that has active ingredients. It's like the skincare of body care. Okay. Waterless, active ingredients, all these natural combinations. It's a high performance blend, waterless innovation, clinically proven to provide superior barrier protection, hydration. And then we came up with like we're working on this, but we're gonna start like turning this into the unique mechanism is like it targets the top four skin issues, which is dryness, loss of firmness, redness, irritation, supporting four skin benefits, improved hydration, elasticity, overall firmness, texture, and tone. Okay, and it's unlike conventional body creams that are diluting active ingredients with water, 100% waterless. Every scoop is ultra rich emollients, botanical oils, active ingredients, making it more potent, longer lasting, and effective. Okay. And even here's the thing, even if there's a lot of competitors doing this, so even if there's other competitors like you who do this exact process, they're not perhaps defining it as well as you're going to. Okay, does anyone ever watch the series Mad Men, like the advertising show that was? Yeah, I love Mad Men's like one of my favorite shows. And he was talking. I can't remember. For the life of me can't remember. I got to go back and watch it. But he was talking either about a tobacco company or like a beer company. But he was talking about how like everybody ferments it the same way with like a oak barrel. Maybe it was wine and scotch. I can't even remember. But he was like everybody does that, but we were the first to like romanticize that step of the process aged in like 400 old oak barrels. And the whole industry would have been like, wait, we all do that. But they were the first to pull it out and define it as their unique mechanism. If you think about merchant mastery as an example, you know how you know the e-customer purchase path? That's based on like historic customer journey marketing. Many people use customer journeys in their marketing planning. We just came up with our proprietary version. It's the e-customer purchase path. It includes things like shipping and reviews that are like unique to e-commerce. But I'm hoping someone answered the Mad Men thing. Watching Mad Men right now. Nice. Okay. Awesome. I'll come back to some of these questions when we wrap up here. But yeah, so the unique mechanism, very important, very important to differentiate you from the competition and make you sound like a category of one. Okay, so you want to list out some things here that differentiate your unique way of doing things. Okay. And then you would ask, like, what can your product do or solve that competing products cannot? And we know, like, because it's a waterless product, we only need a quarter of the amount and it lasts a full day. Like a lot of body butters that last an hour and you're reapplying every hour. This one's like use a quarter of the amount for 24 times longer hydration. And that's getting closer to that, like add some claims, add some proof, right? I'm going to be showing you examples of that in the next session of how I took my answers and turned them into headlines. Okay, so what else? What can my product do that others can't? You know, ingredient superiority, unique blend of nature and science. Many competing products rely solely on butters or oils. We combine clinically proven active ingredients such as Solein Bio and aquacatine to deliver advanced skincare benefits. So we just listed them out there. What do they do? This one boosts ceramide production. This one calms sensitive skin. Why it matters. This makes it ideal for customers looking for both immediate and long-term benefit. Okay. And then we keep going. This is an important one too. What promise can I make that ties directly to the audience emotions or problem? And so one of the things that's unique with the field trip product is it doesn't leave grease, but it doesn't absorb into the skin immediately. You got to like rub it in and wait a few minutes. And so talking with Krista, we're going to be defining it more as like a slow ritual. So it's more about that mindfulness and not rushing through things. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the time, rub it in for a few minutes, kind of just let it sink in. And we came up, she had come up with this line previously, but the super butter moisture locks the concentrate, delivers a perfect harmony in nature and science. We kind of already covered that. Barrier repair, luxurious waterless formulation, designed for those who value clean beauty, but also unparalleled efficacy. Okay, ultimate indulgence. And it's tapping into like customers' awe of the natural world. Actually, Krista, one of the reasons she was really helping like Canadian women, Canadian women in the winter. We got some Canadian women in the house, Ksenia, Katie, Natalie, right? Everybody needs hydration products in Canada in the winter, especially in like Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba and the prairies where it's not as humid as like BC, I guess, Katie. Okay, so she talks a lot about Canada and made in Canada. It's a Canadian URL and like the harsh conditions and the different seasons. Okay, so kind of tapping into the nature component here too. Okay, and then okay, so then this is gonna be something new I'm about to show you now. It's a new homework assignment, but it's really important. Is the last part of this worksheet is working on your origin story. You don't need to write this out right now. You don't need to write this out right now. You could just put bullet points here if you want. But there's going to be like three or four, sorry, four questions that eventually we're going to flush out. The reason I want you to flush it out now, so it's not even something that we're going to write until like the third session, but the reason I want you to start thinking about it now is because this is the part where you were like the category nerd who was so nuts that did this. That might be a massive differentiator that we could include in the headline. And I'm going to be showing you some examples. I've been writing a lot of hooks for many different products, many different brands. I'm going to be showing them in this boot camp, and you'll see some of them have to do with how crazy the founder is, because it's like, whoa, I've never seen that before. Okay, so the few questions you want to think about is like a Spider-Man reference. The first question is like when did the spider bite you? Is the first question. Okay, and so this has to do with like literally how did you acquire the superpower that is your product? Okay, and I've often said this many times, like Ksenia sells sheepskin rugs. Okay, Katie sells organic apparel, like the most organic I've ever seen in my life. That's true. And Jessica sells fishing tackle. That's just a few of you I can see. Sina sells um, aloe vera skincare products. Okay. The truth is, I would never start companies in any of those categories. So something led you there. So the question is, when did the spider bite you? When did you get the idea? When did you start like obsessing about this? When did you ultimately acquire the superpower? The next is like, okay, I got the idea, and then what compelled you to turn this into a business? Oh, it's like, yeah, I solved this for one person. Then I realized, hey, somebody else needed that, and then I solved it for them. Okay. But then you face some challenges. So it's like, when did the spider bite you and you acquire the superpower? What compelled you to turn that superpower into a business? And then what challenges did you face along the way? And how did you persevere through them? Yeah, I started and I thought it was going to be amazing. Then I learned it was actually hard to find this one ingredient I was obsessed with. So I traveled to Tokyo and then to India and I searched the world for this thing. I finally found it in this rare village off the beaten path. Okay. And you persevered through a challenge that almost defeated you. And then the last thing is going to be, what transformation did you arrive at? Finally, this was the product I was happy with. Saved my skin, saved my life, saved everybody. Okay. So as I'm just going to kind of go to the top here, just a reminder, you're going through your desires, you're picking your mass instinct desires, the innovation that you help solve, the trends, the mass education, you're listing out 5 desires based on those, you're picking one. So this is 3 key things we need to have is one desire by next Thursday. Then you're kind of like listing out the ideal customer. I just have this here as a refresher. You're going to go through like the stages of awareness. We got to understand who we're talking about. So you could paste this from your perfect customer profile document if you want, but just remember you're addressing this. How aware are they of the solutions or your product? Okay. And I'm going to be showing you examples of all those stages next Thursday of like, hey, here's what it looks like if you're unaware. Here's what it looks like if you're at this level. Okay. And then you land on which stage of awareness they're at. Okay. And so you're choosing it from that table here. And then we're working on the market sophistication. So it's like, what are other customers saying or other competitors saying? Sorry. What claims are they making? Okay. What features or mechanism does your product have to stand out? And then you list your market's level of sophistication. I don't think many are at 4. There are like it's the obvious ones like skincare, body care, apparel, some jewelry, right? But those are all great categories to be in. You just got to differentiate. Okay, and then so you're picking your levels of sophistication based on this grid, and then you're just filling out like these questions to ask yourself when working on the headline and questions to ask yourself when you're crafting the origin story. Okay, and then I'm going to open up for a couple questions here in a sec, but I just want to go back to the slide deck. Okay, let's just go the other way. Okay, so the action items, just I'll leave it with this slide and then I'll kind of stop sharing and we can just go through some questions to make sure everybody's really clear on the assignment. But you're completing your category of one headline worksheet, and I'm going to be hosting a call. Our team's adding this into school. It might already be there now. Very, very good chance that it's already there now. But on this Monday at 1:30 Eastern, which is 11:30 my local time, Mountain Time, for those of us in Alberta, Ksenia and Robin, if she's still on the call. But 1:30 Eastern on Monday, we're gonna do a Q&A. So I'm gonna be answering pretty much anything that you were doing in that worksheet. Your desires, the sophistication, the awareness, your unique mechanism. That's a really important one. Your origin story, brainstorming. Okay. And then next Thursday, we're gonna get back into building the next step. We're gonna be crafting our headlines. And I have 38 headline formats for you to consider with lots of examples. So next week I'll be showing a lot of examples. I didn't want to show examples today. Why do you think I didn't want to show too many examples today? Because I want to avoid imitation. I want to avoid imitation. I'm okay with imitation when we're intentional with it, but I'm trying to create a really unique angle for you together. Okay. And so I'll show you the 38 headline formats, but it's ultimately going to be based on your unique desires, your customer's awareness stage, and the market sophistication level. How are we feeling? Thumbs up? Any thumbs down? Thumbs up? We got mostly thumbs up. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. I know I really do think this is like the hardest part of the process. It always has been. In level 1 in merchant mastery, creating hooks is always the hardest part. But I think that like a couple things that make yours uniquely you. Data makes you uniquely you. Your story, your experiences, your why, those things all make you uniquely you. And the unique mechanism as well, how you deliver on the service. Okay, so now let me take a little peek into the chat and see if there's anything mega that I was missing here. Yeah, Gata, you got the Q&A. I answered that one. That's on Monday, 1:30 Eastern. Curious about the other product, Dustin. Yeah, me too. Me too. I want that one. I want to bring that one back. I really do. Ice Face Baby. Yeah. 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 That's Olgita. Olgita has an innovation. You still there, Olgita, right? Olgita has an innovative product, and then she has copycats now. She has copycats. So she was like the first, and now the market is getting not, I don't know, flooded, but there's new people who are like, yeah, we got this product too, and it's a little bit different, right? So, and that's what starts happening in every market with every product. Okay. And then Gata, the stage of awareness is huge. Yeah. Yeah. Gata, I was thinking about you when we were trying to come up with your hooks with like most expensive. I probably wouldn't use that one for your products now that I've now that we've broken it down this way. But absolutely, it's really important to know because yours is an innovation as well, Gata. Anita, fashion boutique, use a bestseller. Yeah, like if you own a boutique or you have lots of SKUs, it's either going to be the selection is your differentiator. It's going to be a collection. You would either just talk about, mostly you're not talking about one product if you have hundreds of SKUs like you do. It's like a collection, a category, sweaters, for example, summer dresses, for example. Okay. And it's your selection and the way you curate it and how particular you are about everything. You wouldn't sell anything you wouldn't wear. Those kinds of things. Okay, Joanna, you're liking the process. Good stuff. Mad Men Ksenia, yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. It's really good. Okay, and then yeah, art is at a 5, Joe. And then the awareness part, Alejandro. Okay, yeah, customers who are in every stage. Yes. Um, you know what's funny? Which I was okay. So yeah, you're thinking ahead. Real keen listener here. Our job. with those 5 stages is to move our customers through them. So you are going to have people at all 5 stages, but at every touch point, we're trying to take them from where they are to the next stage. So if they're unaware, we're making them aware. If they're like problem aware, we're going to make them solution aware, right? And then we're going to make them product aware, and then we're going to make them most aware, and then they're going to buy. Okay, so I'll show examples of how you would craft different messages for different touch points of that purchase path, right? So when you're selling to somebody who's an existing customer, for example, they're at a way different level of awareness with you. And so you don't need to do the whole origin story and like resell them on who you are anymore. Good question. Yeah, and then yeah, we can do okay. Yeah, nothing to do all weekend. There you go, Gary. I like to keep you busy. You know me. Okay, and then yeah, Mikey, I feel like I instantly started a business 10 years ago in the most saturated market. Yeah, yeah. Origin story is different. Unique mechanism is different. Natalie, if your story isn't that exciting, you've come to the right place because everybody's story is exciting. I can't tell you how many people in Merchant Mastery and in out in the world that I've talked to who are like, I don't have an origin story. Have you ever heard the story of our old friend Rodrigo, who's in Merchant Mastery Accelerator? He's from American Vinegar Works. He sells like craft vinegar. And when he went through Merchant Mastery, like he's been in the community for a few years now. A couple years ago, when he first started going, he got through level 4. He launched ads and they weren't working. And we were like, "What? This guy's such like a keen person. He's like dedicated. He's doing all the work. It's not working." We look at his ads and we're like, "We got to audit based on the offer stack. Is he using hooks, brand, transaction, influence, function?" He was using everything, but he wouldn't touch brand attributes with a 10-foot pole. No, no mission, no founder story, no nothing like that. And Simon got on a call with him, and Simon actually wrote this ad with him. And so Simon was like, "What's your origin story?" You know what he said? "I don't have an interesting story. I don't have a story." And Simon's like, "Okay, well, I would never start a business selling vinegar. So like, what led you there? Why did you do it?" And he was like, "Oh, you know what? Like honestly, I was kind of fed up with bland vinegar." And we're like, "What?" I've never had that thought. Like that would never compel me to start a vinegar business. Okay. But he was like, I was kind of like, I was selling at markets and I was realizing that vinegar was really bland. I didn't like any of the options. So one time I was in France and I was in this old library and I found this old encyclopedia that showed me a way of fermenting vinegar from the 1800s. And then I consulted the University of Massachusetts to see if we could replicate this system. And we built this facility with the fermenting process. And now all of our vinegars are fermented for 9 days. And when we relaunched that ad, he went from only ever hitting like zero point 0.5 return on his ad spend to over 4. He grew his sales to like 30,000 in like a month or so. And I remember he sent an email to Simon like, "My staff want to quit. Can I turn off my ads?" Okay, so the story could be that powerful where nobody was buying before because they're like, "Oh, vinegar, I don't really need that," to this crazy vinegar nutcase. Remember, I was using that word nutcase earlier, where you're like, "What? I didn't even know I needed to try vinegar, but I'm in." Okay, so you do have a really interesting story, believe it or not. He honestly thought he didn't. He didn't know. So it's in this like interviewing. So just think about that. Like when did you start getting interested in this category? And it could be in childhood. I remember sneaking into my mom's room, stealing this from her. I've heard that a couple times. Okay. So just think about like when that idea started to grow in your mind. Okay, and if your stage is awareness, yeah, same question kind of with Robin, right? If you're at awareness in 2, but also 4, you do have customers at all stages. You do. And so the goal is to meet each of those customers where they're at and advance them to each of the next stages. I'll be touching on that one more next week. Yeah, and then Katie, yeah, talking to naturopath doctors who hadn't put in pieces together that you absorb the fabric. Yeah, yeah. Naturopath doctor, that's totally that big proof claim. Talking to doctors. That's huge. Yeah, good origin story, that one. Right, the vinegar one. Yeah. And then Jessica, do we focus on the I want to I want a boat, but my wife says I have to have a business to write it off. I can't find jigs that. Yeah, I think like I think those are both in there. I think those are both in there, Jessica. So yeah, it's probably like yeah, I think it's the jig part first, but like I would paint see this is what I'm going to be talking about writing these later. So we don't really need to worry about that today about how to write them, but we are going to use story to build emotion. And if you can get your customer to like imagine things in their mind, that's the best form of engagement. People remember things when they imagine things. If they read things and it doesn't really resonate, they're like, yep, I get it, move on. One ear out the other, one eye out the other eye, whatever it is. They're like, oh, yeah, yeah. But when they're like, picture this. I was on a boat. It was like freezing cold weather. Put my hand in, I almost got hypothermia from one touch. And I just needed a jig and I couldn't get back to the shore. Have you ever pictured that when it's that cold? And then all of a sudden I looked into my pocket and I had this thing and I thought maybe this could be a jig. Like, so if you can get people to imagine the story, they start to envision it and they remember it more and creates like a deeper connection with you. So I would say yes, we talk about the need for the jig. And then it's like, and you know what? We also had this other problem. We need to write something off. And we thought, what the heck? They call this like the there's different like archetypes of the founder story. And I'm not really going into that during the session, but maybe I could when we get into that in a couple weeks. But one of the archetypes is like the accidental hero. Yeah, I don't know. I was like on a boat. I found this thing and I thought, what the heck? Maybe this works. Turns out it did. Everybody was hitting me up like, can you help me? And turns out I did. Right. So that could be an angle that you go. Um, but good question. And I think it's just more about like how we frame it. Because to you, it's like, yeah, we started jig because we couldn't find one. But we want to like embellish that a little bit, like romanticize it a little bit. Writing a screenplay. There. Oh, Claire. Claire's like a fantastic writer. Make them feel like they're all there. Yeah, Claire. And I don't know if anyone's. I'm going to be showing Claire's.
I'm cooking
Claire's going
lunch,
to.
so it's not really good video time now. But this has been great. But I absolutely, I think that's something I got from Simon. Is like you have to like on Rodrigo's ad, like the tent blows away, things happen, being sold out, some dramatic moment that pulls them in, so that you start to like be like, oh, I can imagine what that looked and felt or smelt or whatever is appropriate, so that they experience it on more levels, right? It's not just you're not just talking to their brain, you're talking to like all their emotions.
Claire, any additional commentary for everybody? Because Claire is a legend. If anybody hasn't met Claire from Duggan Sisters out in Chicago, Illinois, Claire's been working with us in Merchant Mastery for a few years, maybe, but
Yeah.
she's also an exceptional writer. And Claire has like, what was your experience like with long form, Claire?
Well, you'll probably talk about. I don't want to steal your thunder, but ours is absolutely it's our winning ads are all long form. That it's telling a story. The other thing about origin is like I wrote 5 versions of our origin story because we have a lot of story at the foundation of our business. And it was like, well, do I tell them about working with breast cancer survivors? Do I tell them about selling out at our first fair? Do I tell them about um, having been sick and that's why we created these products? Like I didn't know which one was going to hit people. So we tested 5 versions of long form to find the one that was the winner. So if you feel like, don't feel like you have to pack it all into one story, tell one story and like, yeah, but I got another way to tell it. Write up multiple versions, even if there's overlap, and you'll find the one that's the winner. Because I struggled with
Yeah,
like, not one version of this, and then I let Facebook figure it out.
I love that. Yeah, and Claire, so we are going to be showing Claire's winning at where I got a lot of like long form ads we're going to be showing later. Kind of throughout the next like few weeks through this boot camp. I just want you to get you started on version one. But then at the end, we're going to be dropping some advanced stuff. So it's like build it this way. And once you get comfortable creating these, that was the excellent point, Claire. Like you're not going to write just one. And there's sometimes how long is this long form story going to be? Like you can't really fit the whole story in there in some cases. So you're right. What do you focus on as part of the origin story? To Claire's idea there, Jessica, you might have two versions. One's all about the family and the business, and the other one's all about the solution. But we will then towards the end bring out some like, okay, now that you're an expert long form ad writer, here's how you can draw in the audience a little bit more. Here's how you can create each line more and more compelling. We got some tips there for later on. All right. Any questions? What we're going to be wrapping up soon, but any questions about the homework assignment? Like, do you feel like the worksheet was all pretty clear? Everyone's feeling comfortable enough to go through that? Yeah. Okay.
Scott, the
Okay.
one thing I would say about like, I love the things you had about like where customers are on the journey. To me, it's always like in selling natural deodorant to people for 16 years. There was a time in the beginning where like there were people we talked to who didn't know they didn't care about natural, they cared about something else. There were people who cared about natural and were jaded because others hadn't worked. Yeah, and there so like you're gonna meet different people at different places. So I kind of always feel like in some ways you're either talking to all of them or different ads talk to different people, right? They talk to different people. So I like your idea that you're kind of taking them on the journey because people can go from I don't know I need natural to buying our product. Like they don't have to go through a whole evolution because maybe they buy us because it works or they buy it because of it makes your expensive white shirts yellow and they like that ours doesn't stain. Like there might be some other USP that
Yeah.
gets them. So
Yeah.
so that's where, you can talk to the different parts. So some ways, and the market has evolved, right? There's a lot more people with awareness now about natural deodorants than there were when we got started, right? So
Yeah.
over time, you have to change to the market.
Really good point, Claire. Yeah, like for the rest of the body copy in the ad, there's gonna be places to plug all your other differentiators. Like the headline is like draw the most people with this problem, draw them in. And then we don't know why people make up their mind. Maybe it was nothing, but all of a sudden it was like no yellow stains on my shirt. And I'm like, oh, that's the thing I was looking for. So we want to like include these features throughout the ad too. Yeah, Claire, hopefully you can join us for these sessions because Claire truly is a really exceptional long form ad writer and we're like long form buddies. And yeah, and one thing I would point out just is Alejandra still here? Like your question about, you have customers at each stage. I would think about we're writing this long form story ad for your cold meta campaigns. So it's like mostly people who don't know who you are yet, right? And well, of course, if somebody's in your email list, they're going to be more product aware. So the message is going to be a little bit different. All right. Well, I think this is a high note to end on. We've added in some more sessions. I'm like so determined for everybody here to get this right because I've seen it work remarkably well. There's a couple people who are in the graduate program that I'm working with in Merchant Mastery Accelerator. I don't know if they're here, but Anne, Anita, both of them, their tides turned when they started doing long form. Like it was like the thing. And Anne's like, I'm only doing long form. Anita, only doing long form. So Claire and I, only long form. I think it could be effective for everybody. We'll wrap up here, everyone. We'll see you on Monday. The link should be in the calendar. Oh, Veronica, yeah, this recording will also be in school. All right. Okay, everyone. We'll wrap up here. Good luck. We'll see you on Monday for the big Q&A. Okay. We'll see everyone. Good luck.